naturally, everybody in themselves want to have some type of family or some type of bond, some type of relationship.
Yeah.
But we just have to keep things in its proper place.
Welcome to the Created to Be podcast. I'm Bethany Pygott, and I'm joined again by my husband, Justin Pygott.
Yo.
Darius Doc Brown. And we will eventually get to why his name is also called Doc. Okay, and then Brandi Morgan. Hey. Why don't you share that with us now, just in case we need to call that back? Why do people call you Doc?
So I had a nickname growing up called Hard Time. And I got that nickname because I was so small compared to the people of my age group that they would say I was having a hard time playing sports and doing different things. So when I got older, singing gospel, going around different churches, different functions, I'm like, people would say hard time and singing tonight. And I'm like, I can't sing gospel with a nickname Hard Time. So I changed it to Doc.
I love that you just changed it.
Yeah, I took initiative. I said, this is my life. I'm going to give myself a new nickname. Now, honestly, I did not think it was going to take off like it did. But everybody just started calling me Doc. The name stuck. And so here we are.
Yeah, well, I feel like if anybody's been around you and heard someone call you Doc, I felt like, people need to get us to know us on a personal level. So that is why Darius is called Doc. Let's not resurrect the hard time. Just because you know that information now, world out there, you can't bring that back on Darius. We had a great time last week talking about focus, talking about FCA, talking about acting in sports, and we see more and more of that. So I don't know if anybody has become more aware of that. I know I do every time now that I watch sports. But also, we are a growing podcast. We're just figuring things out as we go. And so if you hear any crazy background noise, just if you knew where we were sitting and that there's a bathroom right behind the wall, then you would understand what we're navigating here. But we want to do the best to bring you a good time, a good hang. And that's what we're going to try to do again today. So relationships is going to be the topic today because that's what we've been talking about at FCA, at the huddle, and we'll eventually get to that. Shayla Pierce spoke about relational attachments, and so that's going to be fun to get into some of our own stories, some flops, some fails, and everything in between, and hopefully give you something that's worth leaving with. But just wanted to take the opportunity, if there's anything that any of us wanted to share that we're seeing in FCA, in the huddles, team Bible studies, anything like that, one-on-ones that we'd like to share just before we get into some other topics today.
Yeah, in regards to what I'm seeing just in FCA right now, it kind of echoes, I think, what y'all may say is just the impact of people sharing their stories, and many of them have not. And so just in our small group of guys, it's been like week 4 right now of just guys that are under 30s in athletic department. One is about to get married, but most in the room are single. And it's just great. They haven't shared their stories. They haven't talked about those things and getting to encourage each other. And that has been a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to next week.
I've been in basketball, we've been just doing a lot of being intentional on building relationships, getting to know players as well as coaches. I want to give a shout out, Guy Cho, one of my guys. He comes from South Sudan. So been spending a lot of time just getting to know him and a little bit about, how he got here. And I've just been intrigued of talking to somebody from another country because it's so different, so being able to share. And I believe even just sharing Jesus, a lot of it, the foundation is built on relationship.
For sure.
Allowing people to know who we are and what we're about and why we believe what we believe. And I just feel like, sometimes before they know Jesus, we have to show them. And so that's something I've been very, very intentional about with him. Coaches, just hearing their stories. They call them fellows now. Just kind of hearing where they come from, how they get here, how they got here, and then what they're looking for even in the future. And so that's been a great thing to be experienced in with basketball.
Yeah, I would echo to say too, like somebody said, everything feels so transactional. And, you get in that world and that's how it is. But like getting to go into a small group or a one-on-one relationship, like you actually get to know the person and struggles they've had and how can I encourage them along the way. And so I never really thought about it that way, though. It's like a transactional thing because it is their job or whatever.
Right.
So you spend lots of hours and time, but the relationship is kind of missing.
I'm getting a whole lot more thank yous than I think I've remembered.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all have noticed that. And it's not that we are we're not in it for the thank you, but and I'm noticing more athletes coming to us, hey, thank you for what you're doing, or thank you for meeting with me today.
Yeah.
Like, this was awesome to talk about these things. And like, I don't know, it's just different.
Yeah, I think that in other time, it's almost like a present realization instead of like a lot of times, you know, you go there. I was that way. I don't want to speak for all of us, but like I was that way where it was like, I was definitely thankful in the moment, but it's like whenever you got out on your own and then like life hit you in the face, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful. I wish I would have been more grateful. And so that is kind of interesting, is that maybe there's something different about what they're experiencing that is super hard and such a contrast to what they're experiencing at FCA, that they're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, you know, where it doesn't take that long to go far in the future and then come back and say, hey, thanks. That's a good point. Yeah, because I would say that too, that it seems like that as well.
Well, sometimes you don't know what you're missing until you get it.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you don't know, you know, what you really need until it's actually presented. And I think that that's what FCA is doing with a lot of these student athletes, is just giving them a reminder that you are cared about beyond what your performance speaks, or what your coach or what different people outside of that particular sport, like you talk about people on Twitter, people behind the keyboard, what they're saying, to be around people that are showing you genuine love, genuine conversation, and just, you know, checking on you, also helping you in whatever way we can. I think that that is something that they are, you know, very much appreciative. And that's why, you know, you get those thank yous that sometimes, you know, we're not looking for them, but just to know that we're making an impact in a positive way and giving them something to help keep them motivated, help keep them encouraged. That's something that I think we can't take for life.
Yeah.
Well, in time, I don't think a lot of people are willing to give up time. And that's something that, like, I feel like a lot of us are gifted in because we have a heart for them. Like, so time is not an issue for me. I mean, you have to balance that with your family, but even though we're all super busy and have other things we could be doing, like making that time is very rare in today's world. Because I found myself even at times like needing somebody to help, and you know, you make a phone call or two and they either don't answer or they can't do it, which is fine. People have things to do, but like, who will just stop what they're doing and help? It makes a big difference, I feel like.
Yeah. Which we'll get into relationships later, but we hope that that is what's happening as we talk about these relationships, that we would continue to grow on our, like in our own lives as staff, but then also that there'd be like these healthy relational dynamics and connections happening at the huddle, and then they'll just continue to grow. Real quick, before we go into stretch time with Justin and our topic for the day, for that segment, Brandi, do you want to talk about the pickleball tournament real quick?
Yeah, sure. We're super excited. Pickleball tournament, November 22nd at McKee Park. Be on the lookout. We'll put updates on Instagram, HellStateFCA_. And there's already flyers if you want to share, if you have friends that are interested in playing. We'll send the link out on there whenever it becomes available to sign up. Also, just a big shout out to Specialty Orthopedic Group and Starkville Parks and Recs for partnering with us on this.
Yeah, we're excited because Brandi is raising funds to become full-time, and so we want to use this event to help her complete that goal and just be a great time for, you know, just community, just to come out, play. Also, hopefully we'll have some athletes be able to come out and be around for the day. And so we think this could be a really great community event. And a lot of people are always like asking how they can get involved and be part of what we're doing here. And so this is going to be something that continues to build hopefully over the next few years. So come be a part of the inaugural event for Brandi. That would be awesome. All right, Justin, we're going to go into stretch time. Now, the other night, this is what generated this thought to talk about because, man, the Dodgers went into an 18-inning game, well, against the Blue Jays. So not just the Dodgers, but the Blue Jays and the Dodgers. And don't judge, but Justin and I did stay up and watch until we saw Freddie Freeman hit the walk-off.
You were working on stuff.
So I watched, quote unquote, but I was definitely coming in and out of the room. Justin was as hard as he could trying to stay awake on the couch to watch, but he made it. We made it. We saw the walk-off, so it paid off. We got to see that moment. And they haven't won since, huh?
No, they haven't won since.
So that's, anyways, that's a whole other conversation.
The last 2 days.
Yeah. So anyway, Justin, we'll pitch this to you for the stretch time, what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. So just to familiarize you with the stretch time, it's, only the second time we've done it. So it's picking something that's going on in the sports world and stretch it. could be inspirational, but probably a lot of fluff. So just something to have fun with. Don't take us too serious on it. This is just to laugh a little and live a little. That's all it's for. So the stretch topic today is long sporting events. All right. Since we've got this 18-inning World Series game, it's kind of fresh.
And how many hours was that?
Oh, I think it was like 5 or 6 hours. The longest one was like a little bit. Longest World Series game was also 18 innings, but it wasn't this one.
Well, honestly, the question I had is why they didn't go another, put the game to another day, the next game. Because I'm like, they literally went to that day. Then they had to play again that
Because
night.
there's weather interruptions. This is a good question. So why don't they put a time limit, and then if it gets to that point, then they come back and play. You interrupt the game for weather, and then they have to come back and play again. Sometimes.
Or even if they...
Look, we're interrupting.
Logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
Not everybody has tickets for the next game.
Well, but and what I'm saying, if they went into, I don't even remember what night the game was on, but let's say it went into Tuesday morning. Instead of playing Tuesday, the next game, why didn't they push it back Wednesday, Thursday?
Because you've already had these things scheduled, and people
TV
have
schedule.
lives, and people are traveling there. There's a lot of money involved, and TV. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Yeah. That would be a logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
Actually, but
We're
yes,
just thinking of all the
question.
mobs.
Good question.
Yeah, I
And
mean, I would
kids
have went to
realize-
sleep. I'm sorry.
I mean, you're welcome to leave.
Sleep.
I mean, I would
That's
have.
Justin's solution for those.
I would have.
Just leave.
And you said the game was how long?
It was a little over, I think, 6 hours.
It ended at
You
2
said 5
a.m.
minutes ago.
And what's
I thought it was
a
8.
in general?
Felt like
What's
20.
a regular baseball game length of time?
Okay, so that's a good segue into that. So normally it's over 3 hours, but they added the pitch clock.
Mm.
All right. 2 years ago, which I was so against because I'm just old school baseball guy, but it's actually cut the time down to about 2 hours and 40 minutes, under that, close to 2.5 hours, which has actually improved viewership by 34%.
Oh,
It's
wow.
also increased attendance by 5% since they've been keeping track of it the last couple of years. So it was a great move by the commissioner. It's the reason why I'm not a commissioner. It has sped up the game, which has been good for fans. But yeah, pretty interesting.
6 hours and 39 minutes.
Okay, there you go.
Officially on the timestamp.
Okay. That's good. I'm
Which normally you said, how long is a game? Normally?
Well, the reason why I was asking, because it's almost like they had 2 games, like you
2
said,
plus games.
2 plus games in one.
I would normally guess, 3 hours?
And
I
then,
normally get
and then
3 hours.
I guess what you're talking about with the pitch time, it kind of goes into what we kind of talked about a bit last, the attention span.
All right, Darius, what is your favorite sport to watch in person?
Football, basketball, pretty even.
Okay. So what would be the max amount of time that if you're watching a game and there was no limit on how, if it could just go into as many overtimes as possible, what hour mark are you saying, I'm done?
Are you meaning in person?
Yes.
Well, you said what hour mark?
Yeah.
Yeah, we started getting 4 and 5 hours. Now we really pushing it.
But do you struggle with oh God, but I'm going to miss something if I leave?
Sometimes. Now I'm gonna say with the like Justin was saying earlier, with the changing of baseball rules, they also have changed football rules as well.
Right.
Because it's now you score, you got to go for it, go for 2 in college. They give him, everyone had a chance, but it's not now you have to go for 2, and then once they get so far, it's just 2-point conversions back and forth. So it's that the
They
dynamic.
also changed stop clock, stopping clock at different
Yes.
spots.
Right.
So it
Yeah,
didn't come out real clear, but just when to stop it.
Yeah, because you kept saying to the TV that
I'm
you're
yelling. I'm like, stop
the clock. It's a
yeah,
first
But
down.
they're like, no,
Yeah,
it's not
I
below
got
2
right.
minutes or something.
Yeah. So that kind of influences, the excitement, because the end is near. You just don't know when.
Yeah.
Like you can, but so I think it just depends if it's action packed. And I'm gonna say this: if it's a team I like, I'm supporting, I think I can hold out to the end. But the timing, to watch a baseball game for 6 hours. They should have gave all of those fans something.
I know. I was thinking about
free
snacks.
coffee.
I was thinking
I know
food.
something because
For the players, for the fans. I was like, what are they doing?
You think about the people who went with the idea of we're going to leave the game to go eat at this
That's right.
restaurant. And then they just keep going. It's like, well,
Concessions made a lot of money that night.
That's
a
right.
lot.
Yeah. And they
Lot of
just look,
beer.
and they just look like, they just look like,
another beer at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Man, I would hate for someone who was taking those to the head early and thinking,
Oh, gosh.
Oh,
because
man.
it's like on the night go in, and then next thing you know, it's like another inning.
Yeah.
Another inning. Can I get 2 more? And before you know it, you done got
you didn't
almost
remember
wasted.
the end. Remember the end. He was
They
staying.
may have had a nap at some point
Yeah.
out of that game.
Yeah, I was just thinking about food. I was like, the practicals, like, what do you start doing? I mean, and the people just look miserable, you know? Like,
I didn't think so.
I mean, some of they're just like tired. They're just like
Oh, sure.
someone scored.
But I think it comes down to this. That's the series. You paid a crap ton of money for
To
that
get
ticket.
it, yeah.
I ain't
Yeah.
going anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, babysitter, if that's
Oh,
rough.
man,
You know, if you had a
that's true.
babysitter that game, they're
Double.
staying the night. It sounds like, but like,
Yeah.
you know, so there's some things there. But
Well,
shoot.
let's flip it around. What if it wasn't baseball?
Yeah.
What's one of your like
There you go.
not as fun sports
all
to
right,
watch?
if it's a final in some sort of sport, and I paid a lot of money for it, I will.
You're in.
So money,
Okay.
so money is a variable
Yeah.
for you.
Oh, totally.
Yes.
Yeah.
And situation.
Well, you're more
Said this is
invested.
the World Series. This is not like a pickup
Well-
game, in the neighborhood. This is the World Series. So it's like, hey, you can't pass on that moment.
The World Series that involves Canada and the United States.
Right, right. You're right. Yeah, exactly.
You know, but yes. No, but I think it is a World Series. If I was there, I wouldn't go anywhere. And I didn't go anywhere when I was watching it. And again, that falls more into being a baseball
Yeah.
purist. I want to watch it. And if it, I even mentioned this the other day, if it was the previous series, like the ALCS, and it was like not Game 7 or something, going that long, I would have went to bed.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but this being the World Series, like, you know what? Why not? Now I've felt it the next couple of days, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I think everybody's got their lines.
Yeah.
But I don't think, unless you had an emergency and you had to leave the game, I just didn't see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Arizona State, when we played, I know that wasn't like a long drawn out thing, but like our fans were so invested, and it was like that we sat in parking for like an hour afterwards. And I knew we could have avoided all of that if we had just left the game. But at the same time, I was in the stands and I'm like, I
I'm
don't
not leaving.
want to miss this, you know? So, and we had all our kids and it was late, but we were like, dude, we're doing this. Like, we're going to stay and see what the outcome is. So, but there have been some other examples of some really long, you talked about tennis, that one tennis
Yeah.
match.
So another long game that is recently, well, not recently, it was 2010 Wimbledon tennis match. And it was between John Isner and Nikolai Mahut. And he is from France. Anyway, they battled for 11 hours of actual play. 11 hours and 5 minutes.
Can you
Okay,
imagine?
So you're like, okay, how in the world did a tennis match go that long? Well, in Wimbledon, the way they do the fifth set is they do not do a tiebreaker in the fifth set. So if you know tennis, tiebreaker is the first person to 7 points wins the tiebreaker. Okay? And it's done, and you have to win by 2. So in Wimbledon, you have to win by games by 2. So you have to win like you would for a regular without a tiebreak. And so it continued to go on. The last set went from, it was 70 to 68. So if you just
God.
calculate that, they pretty much played a whole nother match and a half just in the last set. Okay? It's craziness. And the fact that they continue to play and played well. I think they had 216 aces combined in the whole match. All right? And I think it's interesting too. Like, longest match, I watched some of it, I think, and I didn't watch the rest that finished the next day, but I remember being a part of that whole deal and remembering it. I remember John Isner very well, that name. John Isner never won a title, never won a major tournament, had a very average, above average career, but he's not a top 100 player in tennis, you know, over however long. It's not like he was outstanding. But I remember John Isner's name. He was also like 6'8". He's a massive guy,
Oh, wow.
which this is not normal for tennis. But you take a moment like that and you want to be a part of it because you're watching history. You know it's history.
Yeah.
You're blown away by the effort of both guys continuing to play at such a high level. And then, like, I remember John Isner for that match only.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, John Isner is like a legend.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with him winning. He didn't even win Wimbledon. They didn't have any legs left. Like, he won
It's
it,
done.
but he was done the next day. I think
That
he lost.
proves my point about the Dodgers losing 2 games after they.
Well, I mean, the Blue Jays
They played
went through the 18.
True. Oh, good point.
Yeah.
But the Dodgers won.
So, okay, here it comes. Are we losing our appreciation for something that lasts
Historic
a long
moments.
time, for a historic moment, for people putting in amazing effort and focusing and being able to do this for such a long time because we got stuff to go do or whatever.
We can watch it later.
Or we can watch it later because it's way easier to watch it later. Streaming is changing everything now. And we have it so quick. We watch highlights of everything. There's kids that watch highlights of NBA games, never watch the whole game, but they know every player, and they know it all because they've just seen enough highlights from it, but they never sat and watched the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's just the thing now. And so,
Yes, so I don't think it's that we have lost our appreciation. I think it's more a priority. I think, with the game ending at 2:50 a.m. and I have to be at work at I have to get up at 6 a.m. or earlier. I think it's kind of one of those things where I'm appreciative of this historic moment, but my life costs. I have to shut it down. It's and it's
Or you just know when you go to get coffee, you're gonna get double shot or whatever. You gotta decide what's the priority. Watch this.
Yes,
Caffeinate.
and the discipline. You think to go in your work the next day and tell your boss I was 30 minutes late because I was watching Ohtani pitch and I couldn't miss it. Like, you gotta think like
Right.
that's so sometimes I think it's not that we don't appreciate. I think it's more prioritizing. And then on the flip side, because they do allow everything to be streamed and I can go back and watch it, it kind of encourages me that I'm not going to miss the moment. No, I won't be in it at that time, but now I can just rewind my DVR back to 2:50 a.m.
Right.
and watch the game.
Yeah,
So,
I one thing that I did notice about, like, if we think about just highlight clips, and it happened just that I was up anyway, so working on stuff, so I was like getting to catch some of the game. I would have probably gone to bed because I was like, if there's going to be a walk off, so I'll just figure it out and watch it tomorrow. But there was a pitcher before, for the Dodgers who had to like lock in and take care of like the inning, and he was kind of on the brink, and a pitcher that had just pitched a complete game had gone up to the manager and was like, I'll go in again. And so you just have this situation coming, and this pitcher, Klein, like just finishes the inning. And so for me, that moment was more impressive to like watch because you see all this pressure building and you're like, they're running out of pitchers. They're about to have to go back to this guy. He's like, gonna just do what he can, and he's making himself available. But like that moment of watching what that pitcher did, and then of course Freddie Freeman hits that walk off, and that's awesome. But like that was a really, like, I would have totally not seen that in a highlight reel,
Yeah, like, and you would miss all that if you weren't watching the entire game if you just got the clips.
yes.
Yeah.
And then Ohtani did hit 2 home runs and 2 doubles. And then they walked him the next 5 times. So he is the only player to reach on base 9 times in a game.
Wow.
And just happened to be in the World Series. Just another record broken by that guy.
Yeah. So that was all in this one game. So it's like the whole context of the whole thing was pretty wild, not just like how they ended up winning at the end of this crazy 18-inning game. It was like all these stories within the game.
All the amazing defensive plays. All the pressure-packed moments where pitchers had to make the pitch or hitters had to make the play. Like the hit or fielders had to make the play. So it's just so much.
And I do appreciate...
You think about the 11-hour tennis match. Like all the pressure hits that you have to make in plays to get to 70 to 68 in the 5th set.
The precision is what's, like crazy, especially like in baseball. Like you have, it's just every single person making every single play they need to make. You just don't, that's a level of excellence that, you have to decide, is that a priority to watch?
Nobody scored any runs in
Darius
extra
is
innings.
shaking his head.
So like nobody scored any runs in extra innings. It wasn't like, and those are fun too when one team scores and the other team scores and it goes back and forth. But
I think it goes back to when he said earlier, it's the World Series.
Yeah.
So I feel like the investment, even the priority, all of that is going to be circumstantial.
Yeah.
This is just a regular game. Yeah, it is a regular game. But, this is the World Series. You're talking about the finals or something of that nature. I think that kind of influences if I'm going to have the patience and the determination. Because even with sacrifice, is based on circumstance. I may sacrifice this time I'm gonna lose of sleep because of the World Series.
Yeah.
But like you said, ALS or what ALCS.
LCS, yeah.
I'm not
Championship
that big of a baseball.
Well, Darius, so flipping on it, you being a basketball fan, okay?
Right.
The longest NBA basketball game went 6 overtimes back in 1951, okay? Would you, if it was the finals, would you stay up and watch a 6 overtime finals game?
You said what year?
That was back in 51.
So I think that was the year the TV's cut off. No, because I think overtime is only like, 5 minutes? So you got to think that's an extra 30 minutes.
Oh, no, that's definitely, think about all the timeouts.
No, I'm saying like, I know that it's going to be more than 30 minutes, but I'm saying 30 minutes, quote unquote, of game clock. So I think I could do that because I mean, and then again, it's a sport I'm interested in. It's a sport I like, so you want to see, because I don't know if you remember this. I'm glad we're talking about it. When Alabama, a few years ago, their players fouled out. Like 2 or 3 players got kicked out of the game, and then 2 players fouled out. They were literally on the court playing 5 against 3.
Wow.
And
This was a few years ago?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they was playing 5 against 3. And one of the guys that was on Alabama's team, he was always known. They actually called him a young bull because he's like a bull. He was very determined when he's playing. Colin Sexton is the name.
Okay.
And so he is very known for like being an intense competitor. And it's almost like I was locked in because his competitiveness went up, knowing that his team only had him and 2 other guys against 5.
That's insane.
And to see it, it was like he lived up to the nickname. But I think they ended up losing, but it was just the aspect like I was drawn in because, like you said, sometimes the things that a person just see the highlights don't see. I think knowing, like you was talking about the pitcher,
Yeah.
what he's having to push through, sometimes that is enough to keep you engaged.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
when to see this guy going against, like he was literally going against 5, he's scoring, he's stomping his feet, and he's like, "Come on, bring it!" Like,
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, "Come on, get him!" I don't root for Bama and nothing, but that day I was a roll tide fan. Come on,
Let's
but
do
I
it.
think they end up losing.
Lost by 5 points.
Oh,
Wow.
That's something. Yeah, I'm telling you, it was intense to watch.
And that was
I might have to go back
infuriating.
and watch that game.
Who was
Despite
the other
the
coach?
disadvantage, they outscored Minnesota in that
Minnesota.
stretch.
Wow.
They made a comeback.
And that coach
Wow.
made 5-on-3 drills all the next week.
Right.
Like, what in the world? Like, we can't beat 3
We
people.
got to prepare for everything.
Yeah.
I would have loved to be a walker.
Yeah.
You know how
good
much
coach.
TV time you would have got?
That's right. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. So, Brandi, you were making a point about the instant gratification of clips. You want to say that before we?
Yeah, I just think like because we can see all the little clips and stuff, like it makes us to where we don't watch the whole game. So we miss a lot of the process. And like y'all were talking about, like you don't see the grind that people have to put in and like all the problems that they have to solve to make it work. You just see who's who's out at the end, who's on top. Like that's all you see is the best plays, and that's not always the best part of the game.
Right.
The best play.
Yeah, because even if the Dodgers lose, I think I will remember this game. Not because we had to stay up, but because I did catch several of those things that happened that set them up. Like somebody was going to break through. It was going to be either team, and both teams were making crazy.
Yeah.
Was that the game too where the guy comes across, slides, catches the ball, and threw it to third?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Wow.
Like you're like the amount of they make it look so easy, but like the pressure of the moment plus like this crazy like move that he made, and then to throw an accurate throw, third baseman catches it and tags the guy. Like the whole thing, I was just like, and I'm not even a big baseball fan.
Yeah.
Justin will tell you, I'm like,
But I think what Brandon was saying, and even to the point of Justin, like the clips remove the depth of the
Mhm.
moment,
For sure.
which cause us sometimes to not respect or honor the abilities of the past. You know, you talk about a baseball player back in the day who we don't get a chance to see but through the small clips. And it's like, yeah, but you don't know when they were down how his demeanor was because we don't see none of that. The only thing we see is when he got up, either struck someone out, hit the home run. Like you don't see the small things that make people great, which you was talking to your part earlier, talking about the phones. Like, I feel like that instant gratification sometimes keeps us from being able to really respect the people in the fullness of the journey. It's like you saw this team come back within the last. I'm a Duke fan. I think one game they had in the tournament, they came back like down 10 with a minute. But it's like watching the game and seeing that they had every reason not to fight. Was nothing was going their way, and then they came back in the last. Like, it makes you really respect how they came back at the end, So I think that's something that we missed today too, just to highlight, And I'm a sports guy. I can't stand talking to somebody, and they only saw the highlights, but they talking like they watched the whole game.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
You
really
don't know what I'm talking about. You don't know what I'm talking about.
Good. Even like a track shout out here, you watch somebody, they have 3 or 4 attempts to get the jump,
Mm-hmm.
and then you don't see what they fight through to get to that
Yeah.
jump. Like, it's on their final attempt, and you see the nice jump, and you're like, awesome, but you didn't see the adjustments and the stuff they had to work through, the mental hurdles they had to get through of they almost didn't make the finals, and they were picked to win because they had to make this jump right here.
Even on the stage, like on a massive stage like the Olympics, it's like you have the pole vaulter who broke the record or whatever, and he was broken it multiple times. But I remember he was the only one left. Like, there was no other events going on. The entire stadium was completely filled. Every single eye was on him, and he's like people are clapping and cheering. And I just watching that does something to you, because I'm like, it's not just that he made this jump, but like the circumstance he was under.
Yeah.
The ability to have the mental strength and to hit that height in front of that many people.
In front of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
watching.
mean, and then, people tuned in or whatever. And so it's incredible.
Amazing moment.
Okay, well, that was a stretch today. Just talking about longest games. There's a lot of, if you just Google that, you'll find some other
169-hour Monopoly game.
yeah, Justin got
I would for sure give up.
into the board. Oh yeah, Monopoly, man, that definitely has a time limit. I can't. So we're going to transition to relationships. That's been our theme. We've been talking about focus and distractions. And so we talked about how relationships can be distracting as well from our focus. I was just talking to some students this week, and the amount of, and this just shows our age too. So if you're younger and you're listening, just give us some grace, but just how much they navigate what I say is an innuendo, like this, very ambiguous, elusive space of interpretation, somebody was saying that they got double snapped or something, and you should know not to do that or whatever. And I was like, multiply that by all the platforms, by personal interactions, how many little things are you have to interpret, and how much that can distract you from just doing your homework, doing your sport, because you're like, did this person mean this or that? There's so many different inputs for that, where I was like, man, back in my day, it's you just, if somebody walked past you and didn't say, hey, it was body language, or it was actually communicated, not all these platforms and stuff you have now. Oh man, I was like, that's too much. That's a lot on you to have to figure out, and then you're wondering about it all day. I don't know if guys are like that, but I know that's very distracting for females. But anyways, so we're talking about relationships and healthy relationships, and that's why Shayla talked about relational attachments the other night at FCA. But I just thought it would be fun to share a few of our own flops, fails, maybe successes in relationships. Justin and I met at Mississippi State, so we have plenty of stories about that. But anyway, you can jump in if you want to share any of those fun stories that you have, maybe any lessons you learned, any advice you could give. But fun stories. I know we've all got them.
I can break the ice with the flop. I was, 16, I think, 17, in a relationship with a friend from church. Awesome girl, great friend. We all went on the church trip. I was with my youth group.
So that's church trips, man.
Church trips, and I, for some reason, and I was already kind of it was tough. I loved her family and all of it. And for some reason, I don't know. I decided to break up with her on the church trip in the mall.
Wow.
And so then the rest of the church trip, as we're going to these gatherings.
Excuse me, were you home Monday?
Were you
Were,
little?
were,
Like,
were you
oh.
were you low money?
No, it had nothing to do with the money.
You didn't want to buy
I'm not going to buy anything.
No, it was, what awful timing. And her mother was on the trip with us.
Oh man.
Thankfully, her mother loved me and didn't rip me to shreds. She could have, but I don't know what the heck I was thinking. That's the ultimate flop. I'm not sure why that happened. She's doing great. She's married. She's doing awesome. But like I definitely went back later. I don't know how many years after.
You didn't have a why?
I just didn't feel like we were friends. We were friends, and I didn't feel like, I don't know. I don't
have a good answer.
Just
This is
because-
not what
Yeah. No, it just wasn't because I woke up one. God, I just want this.
Well, I don't.
Over time, I just didn't feel like it was working out, and I was just stupid on the timing. Zero consideration of it.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I had a situationship. They go,
That's a new term for everybody.
They gonna know a situationship. So it was this young lady. I was in college, and I just thought she was so beautiful. I was like, so I'm in class with her. I'm like, I got to get close to this young lady somehow. And you know how the teacher say, get with a partner. Hey,
Hey,
I made my move.
hey.
I beeline right to where she was, and so and the assignment helped me out because the assignment was like, what is your favorite color? Like, so I'm writing her favorite colors down on my paper, and she's writing,
Yeah.
you know, and so we're doing that. So I got a phone number, and this is when I knew. We on the phone, and she's bringing up stuff, and I have no clue what she's talking about. So I was like, let me call you right back. I get off the phone with her, go Google what she's saying, see what it is, and then call her back acting like I know what.
Oh my gosh.
And after I had to do that so many times, I'm like, this is just too much work. Like, we are not compatible.
What were you Googling? Like, what is the things you did?
I'm really ashamed to
Oh,
say.
okay. Never mind.
Well, I can say this. One of them was like a Marina. It's like I guess she was like, we're going to be meeting on the Marina. And I didn't have a clue. Marina. So I didn't have a clue what that was. And I'm like, this is just too much. I cannot. So I just gave up.
cannot.
I'm like, she's beautiful.
You're saying words I don't know.
Yeah. Like, you're beautiful, but this is what I'm like, Justin.
Wait, did she
This
like
is where
you?
I draw the line. Huh?
Did
Well,
it
I feel
become
like
something?
this. Well, no, it didn't become anything because I feel like I didn't just continue to pursue it.
Mhm.
I feel like my personality, I think she liked that, and then the fact that she gave me her number. Like,
Yeah.
girls are not giving out numbers just because now, you know. So I think she was interested, but it was like, no, this is not gonna make it.
Yeah.
You know, and so I cut that off, and it was kind of awkward because, you know, you see him, it's like, hey, how you doing? But, you know, but that was just too much work. When I couldn't answer any of her questions, we just were not compatible. You know, can't have conversation. So I cut it off. Now, I did have one situation. Now, this is a little more serious. I did have a young lady that I thought I was gonna marry her. I really did. My mind was set up to marry her. Like, once we started dating, I knew I'm just graduating. Like, this is what my timeline was: graduating school, getting a job, getting a ring, and we getting married. So I'm sold on it. And she just had too much trauma. Like, it got to the point where I felt like she was leaning on me to help heal her. And then she had some trauma from some of her parents, some of the things. And then I kind of, I guess, reminded her of some of those things because I was popular. Her father was popular, connected to a lot of people. And just the trauma of what she saw in me kind of resembled some of the things, even though I wasn't, you know, stepping out on her or anything like that. But I had to make a decision for me because me trying to be with her was killing me. Me trying to, because it's like sometimes in relationships, we try to be the answer. And people say stuff like, be his peace or be her peace.
Right.
And that's what I was attempting to do. And it was, man, I'm going to be honest. It's like being honest.
Being honest.
I'm going to be honest. Man, it was killing me. It was to the point where I lost me in trying to fulfill her. And it got, you know, it was so to the point where even I remember once we actually broke up, I had to break up with her for my health, you know, and once we actually broke up, I was so used to giving to something that wasn't benefiting me that, man, it took me a while to just find me. Like, and so I'm saying, like, a lot of times in relationship, I feel like that's what happens. We look for so much fulfillment in what we're giving, or even sometimes I can say this, I don't blame her because I knew I didn't fully know myself. And that's why I was okay with being subject to so much, of the pressure that I was having. So,
but I also feel like we're on such like a timeline. Like you were saying, you knew you were about to get done with college. Like, I think that's such a real pressure. Like, it's coming into my senior year. I need to get serious with somebody, like almost forcing an issue, right? And settling because we're trying to fit this certain timeline of things.
That family pressure.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it can be.
Why you not married yet? Yeah.
What's wrong?
Yeah.
For sure.
You have a story, Brandi?
I don't think I was thinking ahead of like a funny relationship story.
That's fine.
With me and Brett. But so this, you can take what you want with this. But so we were having our second child. I had oxygen because my blood pressure was dropping, and all of a sudden I look over and Brett's like right beside my head, and he's like, I think I need to borrow your oxygen, I'm about to pass out. And so like he gets my oxygen and puts it on himself. Well, I like start dying out laughing because I'm like, he's over here about to pass out,
Right?
And so he has my oxygen. So that was just a funny moment for us, like in the middle of having a baby. I'm like dying out laughing because he stole my oxygen.
Yeah. Well, I have a funny story that I kind of like confused Justin because when we first started hanging out, he you might have to help me with this story, but we like played, there used to be a great place here called Bulldog Lanes, and I had gone, I think it was this night in particular, Justin was like on a road trip with baseball, and I had invited him, I think it was around Valentine's, maybe. And then so the BSU was going to Bulldog Lanes to either you could bowl, hang out, whatever. Well, when I got there, I was trying to be strategic because I just wanted to hang out with Justin, but there's a lot of people that I knew there.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I told my friend, I said, I'm not going to bowl. I'm just going to like wait till Justin gets here because like there's this other section that has like pool, air hockey, like all that stuff. And so it worked out like I had planned. A lot of things don't happen like that, but it did. He showed up. He was very tired, I think, too, because he had just come from a road trip, but he came anyways. And I was like, yeah, we can just play over here. Like we didn't sign up to bowl. But like this is the part you're going to have to help me remember is when we were playing pool, did I say something like you accidentally like missed the 8-ball or something because you were about to beat me? And I was like, you better not be going easy on me.
Yeah, you got a little fiery on that. I was like, oh, man.
And we had just not really known each other that long.
I really didn't mean to miss that.
And like he thought, talk about innuendos or like, these like elusive moments. He had perceived that I liked somebody else and that like he was nervous about this moment where I was getting onto him because he was like, what if that guy like went easy on her and that's why like they're not a thing, that which never happened, but like that's what he's thinking. And so then he was like, dude, I gotta beat her. So that beat down,
I have not let up on you since.
that's right, because after our first, which I don't know if this was before or after, I don't remember the time.
It was after
we played racquetball.
Oh, maybe it was before.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I think it was after. But anyways, I don't know. But the timeline, weird. But yeah, we played racquetball, and I had been playing like again, like with some other guys, like just from BSU, whatever. I had kind of picked up the sport, and so I was like invited Justin to play, and then he smoked me. I did not score a single point. So he took that seriously.
Never played before.
Yeah, he had never played. This is what's so aggravating about Justin. If you play against him and it requires a racket or a paddle, like in pickleball, he doesn't have a backhand. He just switches hands. And so you can't get much around him. And so that was one of my earlier stories with Justin in particular. But I definitely was strategic about trying to like figure out like where he would be or like what we'd be doing to try to like cross his path. And I was, like when we were at Mississippi College, there's 2 students who were on the leadership team, and the girl was a part of a smaller group on the leadership team who she voiced, how she liked this baseball guy. And we were like, oh, let's help you out. So we were the ones responsible for planning for the weekly huddle. And there was this game we were going to play that required 2 volunteers. And I don't know if you've seen it. It's like this spoon game. You put a spoon in your mouth. Like if me and Brandi were playing and we're both playing against each other. And like you had say Darius was behind you and Justin was behind me. they like the joke is going to be on one of the two people. So if the joke was on you, Brandi, you would put your head down with your spoon in your mouth, and the other person, me, I'd be like 1, 2, 3, and try to hit your head with the spoon while it's in my mouth, and like whoever bows out first loses. Well, the joke's on Brandi because when she puts her head down, Justin actually has a spoon and pops her. So then whenever you're going back and forth, like you're like, how are you hitting me that hard, you know? And so we were like, let's get this guy. And she was like, no, don't do that. That'll embarrass me. And we're like, all right, look, there are 2 other guys that always like good natured guys, like they won't be upset if they get pranked. So like we'll call on them first or look for them. But we were like, if they're not there, we're calling him up to that seat. So of course those 2 guys did not show up to FCA.
Wow.
So we're like, all right. And so we do that whole thing. And then the guy actually chips his tooth, which is like,
Oh, no.
yeah. And then, but anyways, after that, she was so funny because we were going through a Song of Solomon series by Tommy Nelson, and he talks about that, like it's okay to like cross their path or whatever.
Yeah.
And so she was like, Bethany, guess who's going to 7 a.m. Athletic training now? Because she had an injury, and like that's when he would show up to athletic training. And so I was like, let's
It's
go.
not a morning.
No,
No,
she
she's
was like,
like,
and so then I would be
"Go
like,
here."
did you talk to him? She's like, no, I chickened out. I couldn't do it. But anyways, they had like a really cute like back and forth how they got together. But so I've passed those skills on maybe a little bit.
And they did get married.
They did. They have 4 children. We just saw them this past week. So
4 boys.
no, 3 boys and a little
They
girl.
just had a little girl. Right.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyways,
So Ben
that
was-
pretty fun.
Justin had the sauce. Come on, Jay.
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I had
She was trying to get in
zero.
she was trying to get in the view. I'm just saying that accounts for something.
It didn't. He was a little. I don't know if he knew that that's what I was trying to do. I felt like you were a little oblivious for a little while.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
But yeah, I mean, we're here, so
Yeah.
something worked.
I had 0 game.
Actually, talk about getting a girl's phone number. So the first time I hung out with Justin was we met at FCA, but I had a crush on somebody else at the time. But
My teammate.
yeah, okay. Anyways, I knew his
Wow.
teammate first. So, but Justin got my number because he was asking people to come support his friend that was playing the guitar and singing at a local pub that's not here anymore. But anyways, so I thought the friend would be there. And so I was like, hey, Justin, I'll come. Like, so it wasn't necessarily for Justin, but it was to like cross paths with his friend. And so Justin was like, remembers like when he got he was like, a girl is giving me her phone number right now. Like, what is happening?
Yeah. I had to do a game. And people are probably like, what's a pub? I don't know what that is either.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I wasn't going to say anything. I was thinking
Oh, really?
You don't know what a pub is?
Like a marina?
Like a
that.
marina?
What is a pub?
It's a bar.
Oh,
It's
okay.
a place to eat. A little more food oriented. I think
Gotcha.
if you go pub.
I mean, it's not there anymore.
No.
If anybody's listening that remembers.
Hollywogs.
Do you remember?
Hell yeah, excited.
Over by Obies? Yeah.
They had a great salad bar, and I didn't even like salads.
See? Salads.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Which we were conflicted because we were like, this setting, whatever. But anyways, I showed up and Justin was he invited a bunch of people.
Yeah, I thought people from church were coming too. But they sold me out.
And then he probably thought I was coming for pure motives, but I was coming to see his friend and his friend wasn't there.
Yeah.
So then it just ended up being me and Justin.
Me and Bethany sitting there drinking our waters. Hour and a half later,
Then I told him I had to get back
Overtime.
for basketball curfew.
and then we played racquetball the next day.
And that's what
I went home that night to tell my roommate, I think I found the girl I would marry.
Oh,
Really?
There we go.
That's,
Wow.
however many years ago.
Yeah.
16.
We've been married for
I
almost
was about to
17.
say.
Yeah, almost 7.
17 in December is married, so it has to be longer. than
Well, yeah, I meant anniversary, but
Oh.
yeah. Yeah,
Right.
okay. Do what? Okay, so the question as we're going to land this plane, but before we get there, relational attachments. So Shay talked about healthy ones and non-healthy ones and how you tell the difference. So I just want to kind of open the floor for like, how do you tell the difference? What have you learned from the Lord about these, from experience, from the Bible, anything like that you want to share about how do you recognize and build healthy relationships, attachments versus non-healthy?
Well, I'll say I loved how she brought up like friendships with Jonathan and David in the Bible. Like I never really I thought about it as far as like they had such a unique friendship since Jonathan's dad didn't like David. But I was like, that really was like they were building each other up, but he was also like protecting David in the process. I never really thought about it like that from just a friendship aspect, not like a marriage aspect.
Yeah. How did you recognize, Darius, that this was happening with that girl? Like that she was relying on you and you were having to like give so much of yourself?
I started to recognize I wasn't as happy. It was pressure to be in a relationship. It's like, why is something um, that should be gratifying and for me, why is that so challenging? Why is it so hard? And we understand relationships will have moments of hardship, but when the hardship is overriding the happiness, the hardship is overriding the joy, the peace, is okay, it costs too much. Like, this is not something that is beneficial, and I had to realize that. Like, I had to be able to take a step back and then to realize, like, Justin talking about just getting with people who can hook you into things. I felt like that's what I had been. I had been used as a person to kind of temporarily bring relief, but I realized in that situation, it was something that God needed to do for that individual, and that was something that was much bigger and greater than me. And then to also, like you said, to realize that I'm a giver. I have something to give, but also I just believe this, you should be a benefit to a person, and you should also be benefited by that person. When it's a relationship, it's reciprocity. And I didn't have that, and it took me to get around someone who was in a healthy relationship for me to see it. And then also someone who actually committed, because some people actually made a greater commitment and had to kind of experience what I was experiencing on the other side of being married. Like, and now, and so I was giving good advice. And so now, like, what helps me now is God. Like, I feel like anything that pulls me away from him, anything that takes my attention away from him, even the area of wanting to grow in my relationship with him, and I got something that is just really impeding that, then a lot of times for me, that's something that I'm going to really take to God and say, okay, Lord, even if it's friendship, it doesn't have to just be relationship, it could be friendship. Because some people we like.
Yeah.
We really like them, but it's like we like them, but they're not beneficial for where you're going, what you're trying to do. She talked about Jonathan and David. And one thing I take from that, like back in those times, the king's son would be the one that would be the next king. So for Jonathan to have enough humility and I'm gonna say this, openness to realize what's next is not me, is for my friend.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna protect him. If my dad is gonna get him over here, I'm gonna send my friend over. Like, that says a lot about Jonathan as a person, and I try to have those same makeup when it comes down to me in relationships. Relationships, friendships, what have you. And so I will say, I think a lot of people get mixed up because we just look too much for relationships to be fulfilling. We look too much for them to give us things that sometimes only God can give. And then this is what I do know. God know we need relationship. He told Adam it's not good for man to be alone. So he knows what we need. That's why if you go through him, he's going to connect you with the people and with the different relationships that will help you to become everything you need to be, and also with people that you can give your gifts to help them to become what they need to be. But
yeah, I mean, I'm impressed with your story because, like, it took, and you mentioned it, like someone having gone through that on another side, kind of give perspective, and some other things. Like, I think that for some people, they might think, I just need to dig in, and I just need to commit harder or go stronger at this, which can just lead to more pain and frustration. So it's like one of those things where, yeah, talking to people, getting some other perspective is helpful because, yeah.
And I was gonna say, with you and Justin, y'all have been married longer than me and my wife. I'm pretty sure Brandi, you and your husband. Like, what I've learned, and I say this to young people all the time, you don't have to learn by trial and error all the time.
Yeah, that's
Some
good.
lessons can be taught while others can be bought.
Right.
I'm like this, because being in ministry, you encounter so many people who have done things that they're not proud of, or maybe in tough situations, and sometimes they kind of feel like, well, what's the use? But I tell them, your struggle can be strength for somebody else.
Yeah.
Like where I missed it here, and I feel like that's a trick of the enemy to kill and sever relationships, even between generations, because now you have a lot of people trying to figure it out on their own,
Right.
and don't realize you're going to save yourself a lot of headache and heartache just listening and talking to somebody else that you can trust, and realize this: I'm not trying to control you. I'm trying to help you to not go through some of the pitfalls that I went through. Because I think sometimes when you're dealing with different ones, yes, we all have a story. Yes, we all will make it. But sometimes I'm learning this. Some of my young people can't endure what I had to endure.
Yeah.
They won't be able to take it. It is. So it's like this. My protection for them is to say, listen, don't fall to this. Learn from me. This is what I did. This is how I messed up. And even with the podcast, like with us sharing, prayerfully someone can hear these things and kind of analyze and then say, maybe I may be dealing with, because that person that I went to, they end up getting a divorce, because they were just in something, trying to be something for a person that they couldn't. You can't outperform someone else's hurt. You can't outperform it. You can't outserve it. I know a lot of times, but sometimes, like God started telling me, he said, you're a servant, I'm a savior. It's only so much you can do. And so I learned that the hard way. And to this day, that young lady, we still, we're still cool, but Santana, man, it's almost like everything I didn't have, I got with Santana and some. That's why he was talking about timing earlier. I think Justin said it on the last podcast. We rest in God. Timing is in his hand. You don't have to race against a clock, because God knows what we need, because he showed me that with Santana, everything I didn't have, I got that and some.
Which is Darius's wife.
Oh, yeah, that's my wife. I'm sorry.
Yeah, shout out to Santana.
Yeah, I think for me, I needed to learn how to be a really good friend, I think, before stepping into any kind of relationship.
Yeah.
So like my friends and the communities I was involved didn't make me whole. The Lord did, but in that process, the Lord used those people to bring wholeness in my life, and to show things about me too, like just getting into people and serving and becoming a good friend and engaging in just the activities and being around people and those things. You start learning what is healthy friendship, and so and then you start. For me, I had to learn how to trust myself. I didn't have a great necessarily relationship past where I was like the great leader. Like, how am I going to lead somebody if I can't even lead myself, for one?
Yes.
You got to consider what am I actually becoming? What am I becoming? And you got to have an honest conversation with yourself on that, with the Lord, of is me being with this person producing something that I really wanted to be? And so,
can I say something about that? That does happen often, where people, have discussions with you, whatever, and it's like they want something that they're not.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so instead of, we talk about focus and distractions, it's like if you focus on that, who you want that person to be, you focus on being that, and then you're going to attract that person,
Yeah.
But it's they know, well, I'm not in the best spot, but this is what I really want. And then it's there's this discrepancy. So anyway.
Can I say this too? He was talking about being a good friend and how his friends kind of help. God used his friends to help bring and produce wholeness. One of the things that I think that we have to look at too, because it's like this when it came down to me and Santana, initially she wasn't my type. She was not somebody I would have initially have gone for. But I even say this because sometimes we have to filter our wants and desires even with God, because what we may initially think we want, as we grow closer to God, he started revealing to us who we really are, who we have, the partner we have to have for our journey. I think about Brandi, husband is a football coach. Well, I've been around her for a while, and I can tell she has the makeup to be able to handle a man in that type of environment. And I'm saying that's a very big thing, because he's around a lot of people. A lot of his time is going to be given to his occupation. And so I'm saying that because even as we are journeying and getting to know ourselves, I think that that's something that God showed me. I'm going to say this quote. Now, this may not be popular for everybody, but I have to say this because it was something that resonated with my heart and changed my mind. And I'm going to say changed my life because that's what opened the door for Santana. Me and Santana were friends. We were spending a lot of time together here at Mississippi State, but it was like she wasn't my type. So there was a part of me that just wasn't open to her. And I heard this quote at church one night. He said, the preacher said, sometimes God will put what you want in a package you don't desire to see if you're looking for him. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying just go out and I'm not saying looks don't matter. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is sometimes we can miss the treasures of a field because we can't get over the issues of them. Mm-hmm. And sometimes God, I realized this, what I felt like I didn't want, I realized was what I needed, which actually was what I actually wanted.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Well, my eyes were so jacked up, I didn't realize how great Bethany was, and I wasn't looking for somebody like a Bethany.
Wow.
Until I sat down and talked with her an hour and a half, and it was like the Lord just kind of,
wow,
like pulled back the blinders and was like, see, this is really
exactly.
This is it right here.
Yes.
And I think we miss that. We get exposed to so much crap. It's just, as guys, it's thrown in front of our face, and we have these expectations of what our wife is supposed to be and look like and all these things. And I missed the gem that was right in front of my face, And so, and then still had to fight through that a little bit, like before we officially started dating, because I was, well, this isn't, but it was clear this is the person that I need to be with.
So one of the things that I was thinking about how you tell the difference between a healthy and a non-healthy relationship is, does this relationship like move me emotionally? Like if something happens, can this so disrupt my day? If this person does this or says this, could be an indication. Maybe it's not, set in stone like rule, but could this be an indication that there's some place in me I've let this person get to that they shouldn't have access to or shouldn't. And so just kind of like noticing that, like taking the time to notice, like I'm in anxiety now, or I'm in fear now because this was said or done. Like, anyways, it's just an indication, like something might be there to like explore. So after meeting with like a lot of girls through the years, college girls, they're always wanting this like list. They have this ambiguous list. I don't know where we get this list from, but it's about like what I think it's somehow to make us feel confident and like that we're not going to get hurt or something, but like about a man being spiritual leader and like what that all entails. And I guarantee you, if a girl's looking for that, she's got a picture and she's got a list. Like she will tell you, she will articulate this list. And so one of the things, talking about what we focus on that I've encouraged girls with, because they will bring me, he does this, he looks like this, he can do this, he can't do this. And I will ask like, is he humble? Is he teachable? Because to me, walking with Justin for almost 17 years in marriage, that's been the number one thing. Like we might learn at different paces. We might grow at different ways. We have different backgrounds. We have
definitely
different
learn it.
preferences, whatever it may be. But it's like this ability to stay teachable and humble and not like just get so fixated or like stuck in the mud. Like this is what, and so there can be some of those ditches, I think, for people that like if you say he has to be like this and it looks like X, Y, and Z, you could miss the spiritual leader God has for you because he doesn't fit this like
just
exact
he's not
list.
there yet. Like you're trying to force.
But then that also assumes that I'm there,
right?
And that's why I think it's pretty like it kind of is arrogant, that we carry around these like lists in our head. I don't know if guys have a list or if it's just like one or two things y'all are looking for, but like it can be an extensive thing. So just to encourage anybody out there, like I think if this person is humble and teachable, you don't have to fear them like not being aware of something or whatever. Like, because that's what I, at least in my own life, but also listening to stories, like pick up on is like, there's this hint of like, I want to make sure I don't get hurt or I'm not misled or I'm not whatever. And so then we put all these, well, if we have this, and this, I can almost guarantee, and it's not a guarantee. Like if they don't have a humility in their heart or teachable spirit, it's going to be pretty hard to walk with that person, no matter how much they know, have experience, whatever. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah.
Brandi, do you have anything?
No, I think that's good. I can agree with that for sure.
And it's fun to watch. I mean, it's fun to have that space where in a relationship, whether it's a friendship or it's like with a potential spouse, like that you can feel the difference when there's that space where there's like room and no pressure to be or grow at a certain rate, you know? And because I know I've been guilty of that for Justin, you know, we've had to learn what that looks like.
No, so I want to go back, you know, and just factor in something like Brandi said, because that could be the realization for a lot of people, especially males, young men. They're not there yet,
Yeah.
and sometimes you don't want to be guilty of missing out on something or overlooking something because they're not in that stage of life just yet. You gotta, as Justin said earlier, we got a lot of distractions that the young people are going through, college athletes, you know, and then too, yeah, they haven't said this is a fact, but I can about hang my hat on this. Women mature quicker than men.
Mhm.
Like your mind is thinking about certain things much quicker than ours. So a lot of times it does take us a little time. Now I will say this, Bethany, I think you have given them great advice, because there are certain characteristics and certain traits that you can look at and kind of say they're not there, but they get there by being
Right.
Well, yeah, because what if you create this checklist? Like they have to read their Bible every day, they have to pray, they have to do this, but they're just doing it.
Right.
You know, like
Yeah.
that's no transformation on their behalf or their
Right.
part. So, like,
Right.
really, what are they
Yes.
becoming?
Yes.
Like just what you want them to be.
We checked it off the
Yeah,
list,
yeah.
and then not just checked it. Well, I'm gonna let you go, but not just checked it off the list. But what if you have someone who they want to be taught, they are very caring, they are very attentive, but they may not be in that space of their relationship with God yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is they may not even be reading,
Right.
but they have certain things they are coming to. And I'll use an example, FCA. They're coming to FCA, they're starting to get inquisitive. You notice they're asking questions, they're staying later, they're doing small things, like always looking out. Like I'm just saying, those are signs that we can at least, this is a foundation.
Right.
Because if Santana would have judged me of who I was at the time when we first started talking versus who I am now. And that's why I tell people, because I tell people this, who you see now is the manifestation of a lot of work she helped me to do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She was willing to be patient. She was willing, and then I'm gonna say this, and then too, you talk about the leader aspect, but sometimes I feel like that could be a little scary because it's like, do you want to be carried?
Yeah.
Or you get what I'm saying? Like, are
good.
you looking for somebody to quote unquote carry you?
No.
You know, or yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, like,
And he's
because,
like, I'll be real. No.
because it go back to like what you
Right.
said earlier, Bethany. Some people want things from a counterpart that they're not doing themselves, and I just believe this. You can tell who you are based off who you're attracting. People that have a standard, people that have that godly, and I'm saying pursuing that, they not being overly pursued a lot of times by a lot of fluff. Because guys know, we know when a young lady's not playing that or when she's focused on,
Yeah.
it's like, no, well, we ain't, we ain't no use to even trying because we know where she's staying. But if
Right,
you
yeah.
kind of
That's a good
attracted,
point.
you know, I'm saying to sometimes to look in the mirror, like if I keep attracting this same type of thing, what am I giving off
Yeah.
that causes them to feel so comfortable with, I'm in the realm of possibility.
Right. Yeah.
Bethany, you mentioned the list of what girls may have for guys to meet and all that. And I would say probably with Darius, we would agree that our list is very simple. And we don't realize,
Very.
or it becomes, or later on it becomes more complicated.
Yes.
Yeah, because we're idiots. But no, but in this, I think the older generation does this by accident. There's books out there. Sometimes a book will
Take off.
take a generation down this whole dating trail.
True.
Like Kiss Dating Goodbye is one of those, and a lot of people were like revolting against that. Of like this is
Great
whatever.
until it wasn't.
Great until it wasn't. But I remember being at an event with you. We were early married, I think, and an older couple gets up there, and they were just like, "Man, we just have the sweetest time together. Every morning we get up and we go sit out on that swing. We read our Bibles and we pray together. And he blesses me and prays for me, and we are." And I do that. And then we go about our day, and it's just the sweetest time, retired couple. It's great. And I just think that's the way you're supposed to lead. And we completely miss about what was it like beforehand.
Right.
Like, and then so as a young kid, you listen to that and you're going, oh, I got to do that with. And so you get that. And then the girls hear it and they go, oh, I need a man that does that for me. And so we get that. And so it gets planted in there. And we don't have these real conversations about humility. Are they teachable? Are they fun to be around with other friend groups? Like, do you trust them? Like, are they taking you where they
Are they
want
the
to go?
same person?
Are they the same person?
Are they committed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like just things like, is this person making you better? Is this?
I hate to break it to anybody, but I've met people who do all the things, spiritual things, and they are not those characteristics.
Oh God, that is not a slam dunk.
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
not a slam
That's
dunk.
not a slam dunk.
And they could be having those kinds of spiritual conversations with all kinds of people. And so they're connected with others on things that's just not going to be healthy. Anyway, and they get a lot out of that. Some people get a lot of energy off of that. And so you just got to be careful with that. Anyway, that's where it comes from, I feel like. And it's not.
I think that there was this one time in our relationship, Justin, where I was like, why can't we do X, Y, and Z like so-and-so? And you were like, because we're not them.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think
Yes.
that's a good point of just giving both people the space to like individually, like, who are you becoming? Like, I'm going to give you that space as we seek the Lord. But then also, like, if it leads towards marriage, what are we going to produce together that is unique, that doesn't have to look like we can learn good practices, skills from other people, but that doesn't necessarily mean we have to be a replica of that,
Yes.
you know? So I think that kind of,
I always say it like this: be influenced, but not let other people influence you, but don't idolize them.
yeah. Yep.
Because like you said, you have to create, something of your own. And then too, you was talking about those things, and even as Justin was talking about it, y'all been married at a time, this, people change according to seasons
Yeah.
of life.
Right.
You know how you were before kids versus when you first have a kid, like it. And I think that with Justin making a statement, we have to get back to allowing things to be comfortable with just the conversations. Why is my list this?
Yeah.
Where did this come from?
Right.
And then if this is my list, is it healthy?
Right.
And then I'm gonna say this: is it fair? If
Is it fair? I like that.
Because
I like that so much.
Because where I work with more women, right? So they having an intense conversation one time and talking about, well, this man got to do this, and I'm sitting up here saying, I said, my only issue with this, no, and I just tell you the truth, is the most people that are looking for a 10 out of 10 things on a list think that they are 10 out of 10 themselves. Like you act like this guy got to be this as if you are, and I wasn't saying it to be disrespectful.
Right. Sure.
But I'm saying we make statements about the opposite person as if we're coming to the table
Everything.
with everything. It's like, no, it's going to be a compromise, a healthy compromise on both sides. That's what helps you to kind of give people room to grow, And so I do feel like, because we're talking to a lot with student athletes, people in college, I just will say this: don't put the pressure on you in courtship.
Yeah. Like,
just because you're courting someone, you're getting to know them, you're going through transitions. I know you was talking about, because it's sad to say it, but I've seen people do it, young ladies and young men. Once they know that they have a grip on a person, they will use it and manipulate it. It's like, I will cause you to be down just because I know I have that influence on you.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not healthy. So I'm saying, releasing that pressure of just because we're dating does not necessarily saying this is the person you're going to marry.
Yeah.
They are in the seat, but that's what you date for, to see. And it's okay if this is not the person for you. I wouldn't be upset with that, because that means there's somebody greater. You may not be in that space now, but I'm saying, like, why you in this? Like, just don't put too much, because I feel like some of them are suffering because they put so much pressure on themselves and then giving themselves the things that they're going to have to deal with when that person is gone.
Right.
So
totally.
I'm sorry for going on that tangent.
No, that's fine. I just had one more question, because this is like for contrast, because I know that this comes up. Brandi, I don't know if in talking with girls if this has come up for you, but girls do that. This is what I've heard a lot is that a girl, like they'll imagine a future together with this person. Do guys do that too? I mean, you said you met me and then you went home and said, I think I've, but I'm talking about.
No, I didn't visualize.
Right. Like ruminating in that picture and living in that picture. Do guys do that?
I did. I'm gonna say this. I didn't, but I did have an idea of what I would want at a certain time.
But you didn't meet someone and then be like, get so after like one or two times of hanging out or whatever, like imagine your future, where you'd live, the house you'd live in, family that you'd have.
Not this.
No, I mean, this happens.
No,
have you talked to girls that do
But I think that's where I was gonna say sometimes that's the difference between. Like me, you gotta think me and Justin haven't been.
Well, we let them down so much.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's the point. They've already imagined this spiritual leader that's like this, and our family is going to have family promotions every night,
kids,
and we're going to have and you set yourself up to be.
But that's why you have
these about what we're gonna eat.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you have. But I'm saying that's why you have these conversations,
Right.
Because I'm gonna say this.
Get back to reality.
Yeah, yes, because sometimes, and I've been this person where I had some young ladies who were mad at me, but it was because they set themselves up for their own demise. If I'm telling you this is my intention, this is my mindset, now what you think in your own head and what you made this, I can't control that. Yeah. And I'm saying sometimes they'll leave and say, he done me like this, when all actuality, no, you done it to yourself.
Yeah.
You had such a, it's nothing wrong. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with being hopeful, but we got to be realistic. I'm just saying, you got to be realistic. I mean.
Yeah, and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. I just definitely want to bring that to light that happens, and that can also be the difference between discerning if you got a healthy or non-healthy. Like you might be making it unhealthy, like and not even realizing it because you're entertaining these thoughts and pictures and ideas, and then you do set yourself up for some heartbreak, when the guy doesn't like you back or he doesn't ask you out again.
And can I say this? Like, go back to again, what is it motivated by? Like, I've seen people who didn't have, like the young lady that gave her testimony, I thought that was so powerful because she said what she didn't get from her dad, it caused her to look in guys.
Right.
And so sometimes it's like, okay, let's get back to that place of motivation. What is the motive behind this? And I'm going to say this. I think naturally everybody in themselves want to have some type of family or some type of bond, some type of relationship.
Yeah.
But we just have to keep things in its proper place.
Yeah.
And in its proper perspective. And I feel like what helps with that is conversations. Because like Justin said, we have some young ladies who've been upset about some of the things we've done, but if we would have had the conversations and realized, well, maybe I did play a part into hurting them, but I didn't know that this was her expectation. These conversations, it won't fully change everything, but I just feel like the more understanding we have with certain things, it could at least help us to know your decisions are saying, even though you know this has the potential to hurt this person, you choosing to do it, this was it says about you, or if you know this where they stand. So I just feel like conversation helps.
Yeah. And there's so many of those, like we said, like those elusive things that get interpreted a certain way, and then you make up this story and this narrative or this picture because this person did talk to you or didn't talk to you or whatever. And if you don't somehow air that out, or if you're not good at like just dismissing it, but like air it out with someone else that is maybe older and has walked a little bit more life, I mean, that could definitely help you stay focused if you can just like stay out of that place of just imagining all these things that aren't even the case, I don't know. Hope maybe that'll help somebody out there. But any other comments before we wrap up? We've taken a journey today.
It could go a while.
We might have to do.
It's been a good hang.
It's been a good hang, Jared. Hey, Doc. So thanks for listening again, and we might jump back into relationships. I don't know, but any questions or comments would be helpful. If there's anything else you want to ask about, ask us to talk about. Not that we know everything, but maybe listening to a conversation, if you want to do that, can help you discern some of these things. But thanks for listening, and we look forward to whatever will come next week. Thanks for listening to the Created to Be podcast. To learn more about FCA at Mississippi State, visit www.msufca.org and follow us on Instagram at HailStateFCA_. If you would like to become a financial partner, visit www.fca.org/donate
to sow into the work God is doing through FCA at Mississippi State.